are Dreadquake Mortars, plus Choochoos, any good in patch 6.1.2. So yeah, not only are they good, but they're basically apex predators in the roster. There are things they can't do well, especially if you use the standalone one, not the one with a demonic engine of death pulling it along. But the area effect devastation this can inflict basically anchors the faction as soon as the building gets finished in a tier 5 settlement. Recruited for 2,000 gold and 500 upkeep, the standard budget version comes on Ultra at 6,520 health. Armor is 70, fire resistance 15%, leadership of the base model is 55, speed 20, charge speed 30. I'm not going to poison my tongue with the melee stats. Mass is 5,000. Ammunition begins at 15. There has been a quirk since the earliest days of unleashing one round a millisecond after the battle starts, even with fire at will turned off. That doesn't happen if the enemy isn't in range. I'm just mentioning it in case it still matters when you see this video. Speaking of range, 450 meters is pretty far. This unit is the poster child for monstrous impact, with official missile strength 177 coming with a minus 60% speed debuff for 10 seconds. That matters for your other forces and is cumulative with other sources of slow if applicable, like suppressed from Iron Demons. At least it should be. Anyway, it's significant on its own. Direct impact is base 72 and armor piercing 262. I thought I just saw this for the Hell Cannon video. Oh well, good company. Detonation radius is 15, and within that radius, base 10 and armor piercing 90 damage. That is truly a monstrous detonation radius, and the unit is absolutely worth its fearsome reputation. But just to make sure we are clear on this, the Hell Cannon did more within its 7 meter radius. Not by much, and it's all base damage, but it actually did more. Reload time is a snail's pace 24 seconds. Total accuracy is given as 30, but that's modifying calibration distance to 175 and calibration area a fat 120 meters. So there can be a lot of drift, but it'll get less and less if under 275 meters and as the unit gains veterancy. Let's just say you get XP quickly when you blow up this much stuff. There is no multi-target penetration, just a big boom. Now, let's just accept the train versions are better. Not only are they more expensive in gold, they cost 2 unit slots as unlocked in the Hell Forge. There are 2 flavors, pulled by an Iron Daemon or the Skullcracker, and let's keep in mind the Iron Daemon got improved and the Skullcracker got reined in over time. Recruited for 3,100 gold and 775 upkeep. Health comes at 11,580 for being a 2 War Machine combo. Armor is 120, the unit is unbreakable, speed 55, charge speed 84. Melee attack 30, attack interval 4, melee splash target very large, max target splash by the melee 6, melee defense 25, weapon strength 250, split base 70 and AP 180, bonus versus infantry of 20, charge bonus 50. So basically, aside from being speed 5 slower, it's an Iron Daemon with extra health and a huge mortar in the back car. All of the Iron Daemon firepower from the front is identical, and interestingly, mass is treated as 5,000 again. Skullcracker version is 3,200 gold and 800 upkeep. Health is only 9,540. Most stats are the same stuff until you get to melee attack 40 and weapon strength 350, and of course no ranged from the engine. Now, traits are something to pay some attention to. All versions have Hellbound, including the standalone artillery, so physical resistance 20%, perfect vigor, and magical attack unless under 25% health. That's right, it has magical attack too. The base version is Hellforged for Demonsmith healing, is a contempt unit, and yeah, it's a siege attacker. The Iron Daemon and Skullcracker versions cause fear and terror, as in the original did not in melee, and has the fire whilst moving attribute. I mean, you might be going, wait, battle. I can understand the Iron Daemon firing Grave Shot while moving, but the Skullcracker has no missile weapon. What gives? Well, what gives is that all of a sudden you can kite opponents and auto-fire the Dreadquake mortar while still moving. No biggie. Now, in practice, you might really want to find a place to stop and fire at something purposefully and then scoot, but sometimes that potential to just do it automatically is glorious. Also, so that I don't forget it, the Skullcracker version does have Wall Breaker. In the Redline skills, Hellforged Ordnance returns one last time, barring RORs for plus 20% ammunition and plus 10% range. Now, both are extremely important here. 15 rounds aren't much in a long fight, because not every shot will work out like you want it to. Also, 495 range, wow. Anyway, Bloodied Bombardment adds plus 12% to the impact round damage, plus 12% to the Glorious Explosion, dragging it above some infantry health thresholds. 10% reload time reduction is a full 2 seconds off its base, and 15% missile resistance is not trivial one tiny bit. You do not want this unit to get destroyed. In the tech tree, Continuous Bombardment gives plus 10% to raw missile and explosion damage, and plus 10% ammunition. Weapons of War grants a unit cap enlargement discount, plus 10% speed, and an extra 5% range, pushing it to over 500 meters. Let's recap the Hellforge. 15% more ammunition is no longer a potential triviality, especially if you can get a number of shots off kiting before the main battle is engaged. 1,000 points of barrier is crazy powerful for a mass devastation skirmisher. Extra powder? As I said, yes, this has an immense detonation radius, but stock, the explosion damage stops at 100 damage, though 90% of that is armor piercing. Jacking that up to 130, 90% of that armor piercing will just atomize things on the cusp. You'll notice this fighting Nurgle factions. Extra reload helps, and extra reload is more valuable the lower the base ammunition value. Forge Fire and Blazing Body are actually potentially useful. You don't want to be in that position, but run out of ammo, and the trained versions will have to get dirty. Immunity to contact effects can mean something as simple as poison not shaving 15% off from your explosion damage, or slowing you down when escaping cavalry after kiting. So how do we use the Dreadquake mortar family? The flavors change, the uses change, but the common denominator is really simple. You create the biggest blob you can, any way you can, and nuke it. This side of Wicked Claw, it is legitimate to use that word as shorthand, not because the damage is as high as the Hell Cannon in a smaller radius, but because the sheer size of a 30-meter diameter is pretty astounding in practice, and being able to repeat it 24 seconds or less later is a big deal. But there's a lot of problems pulling it off, and even the AI will endlessly frustrate your efforts and try to use your own mortars against you, and against your Chaos Dwarf infantry, which are just as vulnerable to a Dreadquake as the other guy. Once you see what this can do against you, you become determined to keep it on a short leash, or at least have it kite where you can see it. Well, once you get over that point, it gets a lot simpler and your embarrassing incidents become fewer. The point to remember is that even a 30-meter wide circle isn't perfect. You also get a lot less out of this mortar when firing at thinner formations, thinner lines, spread out stuff, and, well, single-entity honey badger monsters just don't care. So it's an overwhelmingly powerful hammer of the Dark Gods to solve a single kind of problem, and even trolls and minotaurs will feel it. But they'll be alive to feel it. You need other stuff. You need balance to make up for how unbalanced the Dreadquake is, so that you can take out those trolls. That said, the trained versions, yes, even the maligned Skullcracker, can put in incredible work, and do even more if you put in the time to learn their quirks and increase your skill as a player. This is a very expensive, but very powerful tool, and will reward your efforts. Just keep in mind, the trains are 2 unit cap slots. If your concern is to make sure no army leaves a fortress without a Dreadquake, you may want to just use the standalone one and take your chances, but be prepared to defend it. The trains can literally solo entire small garrison settlements. I mean, you probably want some stuff helping, but they can. Take care and have fun. May the ground quake as you pass.